Welcome into Off the Hook Sports. Happy Friday. Happy start of August. We all know the start of August means the football preseason is in full swing. The Hall of Fame game was last night, and man, are we feeling a lot of excitement going forward. I am your host, Caleb Calhoun. A lot to get to today. We have a big recruit, a big pickup for Tennessee, another athlete that they landed, the second athlete in a week. We're going to talk about what he will do for Tennessee, what that does for the Vols recruiting rankings, all of that. Also, a receiver for Tennessee, Chris Brazzle, appears to be banged up or just not meeting expectations early in fall camp. What does that mean for the Vols? Where will they turn for the number 2 wideout? Kirby Smart seems to take another shot at how Tennessee's offense is run. He didn't necessarily call out Tennessee, but he said something vaguely. We're going to dive into that. Also, the new college game day theme song is out, and we're going to have a little fun, and we're going to talk about who is on it, and we're all going to discuss the best theme song in college game day history. We're going to get to that. That's going to be fun. And we close with my prediction. While I may be eating some crow on recruiting, one of my predictions is coming true very quickly, and that's about the College Sports Commission on NIL. I said that they had no enforcement power whatsoever, and they never would, and I think I'm being proven right on that. So, we're going to have to see how that one goes, but I'm pretty sure I was deadly accurate that they would have no ability to enforce things whatsoever, and that's proven more and more by the day. So hit that like and subscribe button, ring the bell, turn on your notifications. Tell a friend. Building something great here at Off the Hook. Want you to be a part of it. And we are coming to you live from our show is represented by Banks & Jones, Tennessee's trial attorney. Play to win, why settle? Banks & Jones, led by T. Scott Jones, banksandjones.com. We come to you live from the Ted Russell Ford Lincoln studio. Ted Russell Ford Lincoln, your home for the finest vehicles in Knoxville. New and used, East Tennessee's largest Ford and Lincoln volume dealer. Let's get rolling straight off the top with today's tough question, brought to you by Banks & Jones, of all people. Tennessee picked up another commitment, its second athlete of the week on Thursday, when they landed 5-star athlete Salesi out of Utah. Moa specifically is a, funny enough, 4-star on all the individual services. So like 247 Sports, Rivals, On3, and ESPN all have him as a 4-star, but the composite score for him gives him a 5-star rating, and he's a top 31 player nationally, the number 2 athlete in the nation, and the best player out of the state of Utah. Hails from Ogden, Utah. Fremont High School is where he comes. Tennessee, this is a huge pickup for the Vols. Their recruiting class ranking now, with 23 commitments, has now cracked the top 10. They are officially in the top 10, number 9 overall, number 9 composite, and number 9 on 247 Sports. Things are looking very good for them. They have 3 guys now who are a 5-star on some service. Faison Brandon is a 5-star pretty much across the board, their quarterback. Gabriel Osindo is a 5-star on 247 Sports, and Salesi is a 5-star on the 247 Sports composite rankings. This comes after they added Joel Wyatt from Murfreesboro earlier in the week, who is a 4-star across the board. Wyatt is an in-state guy. Wyatt and Moa give Tennessee's class a huge boost over a 4-day period after they hadn't had any commitments in 3 weeks. So this is a great pickup for the Vols. Standing at 6'1", 190, Moa is looked at as a guy who could play defensive back or wide receiver. And the question is, which one will he play? We don't know yet. However, that is today's tough question, brought to you by Banks & Jones, Tennessee's trial attorney. Play to win, why settle? Banks & Jones, led by T. Scott Jones, banksandjones.com. Where will 5-star athlete Salesi play at Tennessee? Wide receiver, defensive back, both, or somewhere else? The poll question is up. Vote on that now, and let's keep this thing going. I tend to lean both. And here's why I tend to lean both. Not because I think he should play both. I actually think it's a much better move if he plays one position, specifically wide receiver. That seems where he's leaning more. However, a part of me thinks that one of the reasons he committed to Tennessee was a promise of playing both. This is going to be a new thing, guys, in college football. With the success of Travis Hunter last year, there's going to be a lot of elite athletes that want to play both sides of the ball to help their draft stock going forward. And that's why we know Boo Carter was stringing Tennessee along for a while. He's back with the team now, but he was for a long time stringing the Vols along. And he's got to kind of earn his way back. He wants more of a role on offense. We see other reports of other guys wanting to play both sides of the ball, thinking they can do it. Colorado is now selling that to players on the recruiting trail that look at what they did with Travis Hunter. They could do it with somebody else. Salesi comes from that area. I mean, you know, let's not forget that Utah is right next to Colorado. They border each other. He is in the Deion Sanders market, per se, if you want to say this. I mean, obviously his market is Utah, Utah State, and BYU. It's not like he's and so it's not necessarily like he's only in the Colorado market. There's a lot of teams surrounding him in Ogden, Utah, which is in the northern, like, little boot, I guess you could say, of Utah, right around there. It's in the Salt Lake City metropolitan area. But anyways, I think the success that Deion Sanders has had, and the success with Travis Hunter in that area, by the way, has had a big impact. And I think that leads to guys like Ogden wanting to play both sides of the ball. So I think one of the reasons he committed to Tennessee was the promise to play both sides of the ball. And so because of that, I think he will play both sides, even though I would lean towards him playing wide receiver. You guys vote again. Where will five-star athlete Salesi play at Tennessee? Wide receiver, defensive back, both, or somewhere else? Again, today's tough question brought to you by Banks & Jones, Tennessee's trial attorney. Play to win, why settle? Banks & Jones, led by T. Scott Jones. BanksandJones.com.
Why Banks & Jones? Well, it's because they're Tennessee's trial attorney. You can play to win with Banks & Jones because they'll go to trial. You've heard of other lawyers. They say they'll go to trial and fight for you. They won't. They just want to settle. That's the easiest way out. Well, that's not Banks & Jones, led by T. Scott Jones. They won't settle. They'll go to trial for you. Tennessee's trial attorney. They play to win. Truly, Tennessee's trial attorney when it comes to criminal defense or personal injury. Why settle? It's Banks & Jones. T. Scott Jones. BanksandJones.com.
All right, the poll question up. Where will five-star athlete Salesi play at Tennessee? Now, I make the case that he will play at both wide receiver and defensive back. The choices are wide receiver, defensive back, both, or somewhere else. It looks like the poll question, though, most people say straight wide receiver. 65% of you guys are saying wide receiver. 35% are saying both. Nobody's saying just defensive back or just somewhere else. So it looks like 65-35 lean wide receiver. I think the smart move is for him to play just wide receiver. I don't think that's actually where it's going to go, though. Does that make sense? I think, honestly, the problem is that I do feel like he's probably going to end up playing... he's probably going to find himself playing more both because of the fact that Josh Heupel had to sell him a little bit to get him there. Now, as far as Salesi, I mean, the guy is incredibly elite. He committed to the Vols over Michigan State, Michigan, Washington, and Utah. And those aren't like snuff. Those aren't schools to sleep on. I mean, I know Michigan had a bad year last year, but they and Washington were both in the playoff just 2 years ago, and that was when it was a 14 playoff. So you got to be fair on that. Now, one of the questions that might come around is obviously him playing at Utah. There's always concerns when you come from certain areas, when you're an athletic skill player, if you just stand out way more because the level of talent is not where it needs to be. But many analysts, Greg Biggins of 247 Sports most notably, say he could be a legitimately two-way player in college and has a skill set to be a high-round NFL draft pick down the road. Steve Wiltfong says he's an outstanding pickup and says he expects him to be one of the best players for the Vols by year 2. But what stands out, why he's a 5-star, is because of how good he looks with the ball in open space. And that is a concern, because you can look a lot better in open space when you're playing against Utah high school football talent. He does run the 10.74 100-meter time. That's his peak, according to Biggins. Pretty good speed, so there is a lot to be excited about. But I do think you got to take it with a grain of salt with this level of questioning that goes around when it comes to coming out of Utah. And so we'll see how this goes, but I do think he's going to be a two-way player because that's what was promised to him. They'll probably give him some reps on defense, but I think he really personally just prefers playing wide receiver, and that's where Tennessee's going to go with him. But this, I mean, guys, I can't stress, this is still a big pickup. This guy was leaning towards Big Ten country, straight up, Washington, Michigan, and Tennessee was able to pluck him out. I think that's a pretty impressive move for Tennessee to do, even if there weren't other elite SEC schools that were in the running for him to a certain degree. So with all of that being said, Mo is a great pickup. There could be more coming down the pike for Tennessee in the month of August, and then I could really be eating my crow on how good of a recruiter Josh Heupel is. He's looking like a better one right now. He's done a lot of good things on the recruiting trail, but we'll see how things go the rest of the way. Portions of the program are brought to you by Chattanooga Mortgage. Congratulations, your home search just got easier. Buying a home in Chattanooga has never been easier. Chat with 2tsmortgage.com. Chat with 2tsmortgage.com. We continue our coverage with news of Tennessee banged up at wide receiver. And yes, we have to go here now. And it's not the best news for the Vols. According to multiple sources, Chris Brazzle is sidelined to start spring practice. Now, Rocky Top Insider reported that he was not actually he's been sidelined due to injury. While no Vol coach has talked about the injury, he has not been working with the team. He's been sidelined. That's a report from Ryan Shumpert of Rocky Top Insider. At the same time, on a much more serious, or on a much more damning note, Tony Basillo said on his show Thursday that he, quote, wouldn't count on Brazzle having a big season in 2025. He said, quote, this Brazzle guy who they got from Tulane last year, we heard behind the scenes he doesn't work at it. I mean, literally coasting. And he pretty much looked like that last year. No offense to him. And I don't know the extent of his injury. They're pretty tight-lipped with stuff like that. He could be really seriously hurt. Who knows? But he's not exactly off to a sterling golden start. They're going to have kids playing at wide receiver. I always thought about this Brazzle guy. I said it out loud in the offseason. When you tell me that that's one of your leading returning guys that you're counting on, you need to get in the transfer portal and get a couple of wide receivers. That was always my take on him. Maybe I'm proven wrong. Maybe he has a 60 catch year, but I wouldn't count on it. If he's a stock, I'm selling him. No offense to him. Now, Brazzle was obviously a transfer from Tulane last year, and he had 29 catches for 333 yards of 2 touchdowns. Many people found that underwhelming, but don't forget, that was more than I actually thought he would have, because the 2 starting wideouts were supposed to be Dante Thornton and Brew McCoy. Both were coming off season-ending injuries, and Squirrel White was the starter in the slot. But because and he played the whole year with a separated shoulder. So because none of the starting 3 receivers in the rotation were 100%, Chris Brazzle got worked in a lot. I thought this year he was going to be the number 2 wideout to complement Mike Matthews, who I projected to have a breakout year as the go-to wideout, with Braylon Staley and Squirrel White. I'm not Squirrel White. Braylon Staley and Boo Carter alternating in the slot. However, it is time for 4 downs, brought to you by Ted Russell Ford Lincoln. Ted Russell Ford Lincoln is your home for the finest vehicles in Knoxville, new and used, East Tennessee's largest Ford and Lincoln volume dealer. We're going to play 4 downs, and we're going to discuss the receivers who need to step up if Chris Brazzle is sidelined. I'm not going to speculate why he's sidelined. I'm going to say from the start, I believe it's an injury. I don't like to question a kid's work ethic until I know what's actually happening. So I'm going to leave that out. I've heard no reports on that. I have heard enough reports that he's a little bit banged up, though. So let's go ahead and play 4 downs from Cooper Mays here. Hit like and subscribe. I tell you guys, I don't have the board, but 4 downs is always brought to you by Cooper Mays. So Cooper Mays asks you all to hit like and subscribe. We're going to play 4 downs on players who can replace him this year. And a lot of it is a test of Josh Heupel's recruiting. And that's how we're going to get started here. So let's roll with Coop here. First down. All right. Who could replace Chris Brazzle at wideout? First down, Travis Smith Jr. Coming out of Westlake High School in Atlanta, Travis Smith Jr. is 6'3", 210 pounds, was a 4-star across the board, and set a goal in the spring to go for 1,000 yards. Yes, as a freshman, has a goal to gain 1,000 yards receiving this year. Well, maybe he could actually do it, because if he becomes the starting wideout as a true freshman, boy, that's a big deal. He's already going viral for this play. I don't know if you guys just saw this, but it was against a coach, but Travis Smith gained a lot of followers for this play where he was in a drill with Kelsey Pope right here, bullying him in practice. Check this out. Here we go. Hold on. Watch this. But boom! Getting off separation. Again, not reading too much into it. It's against the coach. I know Kelsey Pope is younger than usual, but still, Travis Smith looks like he could be a very, very, very good player on that front. Now, moving on. Cooper Mays here. Second down from Cooper Mays. Who else is on this list of receivers who could replace my mind just drew a blank. Oh yeah. Of receivers who could replace Chris Brazzle. Rodarius Jackson, Robert Jackson, out of Sheffield High School in Memphis. Another 4-star. He stands at 6'2"-ish, 210 now. So he's already put on the weight needed for fall camp. And he is a 4-star across the board. He could end up being a very good wideout too. Again, you don't need this wideout to be the generational dictate coverage wideout. That's what they expect Mike Matthews to be. You need this wideout to be the guy that can be the possession wideout, what Ramel Keaton was for Tennessee. By the way, congratulations to Ramel Keaton for joining the Titans. I was always a big fan of him. Rodarius Jackson could probably do that. He could probably definitely live up to that, okay? So we're going to see how that rolls, but I think there's a very good chance that Rodarius Jackson actually gets into that position as well, which is definitely something to be excited about if you are Tennessee. Now we keep moving on. Tennessee center Cooper Mays here. Third down. Guys, how is my Cooper Mays voice, by the way? What do you think I'm doing? Am I doing it right? Is it okay? Do I need to do better? I got complimented on it yesterday. Just let me know. Third down. Trey Weary. Hey, last year, and it was already brought up on the message board, Will Brooks ended up becoming a starter as a walk-on after getting banged up. Could Trey Weary do that for Tennessee this year? He's a walk-on out of Houston, Texas. Played in 2 games, had 3 catches for 18 yards against Chattanooga in the season opener. Maybe he will be the guy that becomes a solid player for Tennessee. Maybe they will turn to him as the possession guy. We do know that it usually takes wideouts, particularly freshmen, a year to learn this system, because it's actually, while it's easy for a quarterback to pick up, which we're going to get to in a little while with Kirby Smart, it's more difficult for a wide receiver to pick up than a standard pro style offense. So I think when you take that into account, there's a very good chance that Tennessee does go with a walk-on because of the experience in Trey Weary and what he can bring to the table with that experience. However, that's not the only option. Again, 4 Downs brought to you by Ted Russell Ford. Ted Russell Ford Lincoln is your home for the finest vehicles in Knoxville, new and used, East Tennessee's largest Ford and Lincoln volume dealer. When we come back, there's one more option, and I'm going to give my thoughts on it. Stick with us. First, Ted, a quick message from Ted Russell Ford.
A beacon of hope in a world of high prices. Look to the skies, Knoxville. Super Savings is here. Ted Russell Ford is East Tennessee's #1 Volume Ford dealer. Employee pricing is here. You pay what we pay on all new Ford models. Come see the super dealer today at either Ted Russell Ford location, Parkside Drive, or Kingston Pike.
All SEC center Cooper Mays here. 4th down. All right, 4th down is this. A slot receiver. Could a slot receiver replace Brazzle on the other side? There are a few options for a slot receiver to replace Brazzle on the other side. Joaquin Dotson is another commitment that Tennessee secured this year. He's a 3-star out of Baylor School in Chattanooga, but those Chattanooga kids always overachieve to a certain degree. So as a 3-star, Joaquin Dotson could be the guy who steps into that role. That's certainly highly possible. He's 6 feet, 185, definitely a slot build, but could move over there. Could they move Braylon Staley to the outside? Look, we know that Boo Carter wants to play a lot more on offense. Would they put Boo Carter just full-time in the slot and have Braylon Staley be the #2 receiver? That's very possible, by the way. Or Or Boone Carter moves to the wideout spot. I don't think that's going to happen, but maybe he does, and Braylon Staley stays in the slot. Finally, what about Amari Jefferson? Amari Jefferson is the transfer from Alabama that Tennessee landed. He's an upperclassman, so not an upperclassman, but he has experience at the college level, so it shouldn't be as hard for him to pick up the system. I don't think Amari Jefferson will be the guy. He is a guy, despite being 6 feet, who can play on the inside or the outside, but the problem with Amari Jefferson is that he's been banged up. I don't even think he practiced in the spring because he was hurt. I think Amari Jefferson is a guy who's going to sit this whole year and then really blossom into a role next year. I think that was their plan for Amari Jefferson. So I don't think that's where they're going to land. If Chris Brazzle is sidelined, my guess on where they're going to go is Trey Weary. I think they're going to go with Trey Weary. And they have not been afraid to use walk-ons in the past. And I think Trey Weary could be the guy, given the fact that he has experience in the system. Travis Smith certainly has the most talent of the group. But again, we haven't seen true freshman receivers pick up this system the way first-year guys who are older would pick up this system. And there's a lot of complexities to running it. Remember, if Trey Weary is your go-to wideout, you're screwed. It's like last year. If Will Brooks is your starting safety and you don't have Jermon McCoy to take out one side of the field, you're screwed. But however, Trey Weary can be a reliable possession guy if Mike Matthews is going to dictate coverage the way we expect him to dictate coverage. Then you really just need somewhat of a body on the other side who understands the route concepts and everything like that. I think that is Trey Weary. I do believe that is Trey Weary. And with that in mind, I think the experience is going to matter more than the raw talent. And there's definitely a great situation there where Trey Weary, if he's the possession guy, he doesn't have to have the raw athletic ability. So I think that's kind of a big deal. And so with that in mind, Trey Weary, I kind of land on the idea that maybe he will actually be the starting wideout opposite Mike Matthews, and Mike Matthews may make things a lot easier on him in the process. But we're going to have to see, that we got a little bit of time to figure all this out. We just don't know for sure how this is going to all play out. Maybe Chris Brazzle is ready to go at 100% soon enough. We'll see how that works out. Portions of the program are brought to you by Hemp House, the premier hemp dispensary online with a wide variety, great selection, and strict standards. HempHouseChatWith2Ts.com. HempHouseChatWith2Ts.com. Use the promo code HOOKED for 10% off. When we come back, we got a little Kirby Smart to talk about because he seems to take another shot at the Vols. Stick with us. 2 minutes off the Hook Sports.
Why Banks & Jones? Well, it's because they're Tennessee's trial attorney. You can play to win with Banks & Jones because they'll go to trial. You've heard of other lawyers. They say they'll go to trial and fight for you. They won't. They just want to settle. That's the easiest way out. Well, that's not Banks & Jones, led by T. Scott Jones. They won't settle. They'll go to trial for you. Tennessee's trial attorney. They play to win. Truly, Tennessee's trial attorney when it comes to criminal defense or personal injury. Why settle? It's Banks & Jones. T. Scott Jones. BanksandJones.com.
Hello, ma'am. I'm here to look at that plumbing problem.
Oh boy. Yep. You're gonna need a whole new sink.
This toilet is no good.
You're gonna need a new one ASAP.
You are not gonna believe this. You're all out of milk. Have you heard about our service plan?
I need to call Scott's.
Scott's Plumbing, your trusted neighborhood plumber since 1977.
Community banking is about location and much more. It's about family. We reside in your community. We are a part of your community. At Commercial Bank, our commitment extends beyond the walls of our branches. It's displayed each day in the opportunities we provide, the money we give back, and the time we commit, all to help improve the lives of the people, families, and businesses that make our communities great. Commercial Bank, life made better.
Hi, Mike Davis here with City Heating and Air, reminding you to always dare to compare. Our team provides quality local heating and air service, installation, and maintenance across East Tennessee. We use only the best equipment like American Standard heating and air conditioning for your residential, new construction, or commercial needs. Honesty, dependability, and customer satisfaction have been the cornerstones of our business since 1961. City Heat and Air. Dare to compare.
Are you ready to get strong? At NFC, we offer top-notch weight training and functional fitness, so you can build strength and improve your performance. Join today at NFC1.com or stop by any one of our 7 East Tennessee locations.
Welcome back to Off the Hook Sports. Caleb Calhoun here. Hit that like and subscribe button. We broadcast to you live from the Ted Russell Ford Lincoln studio. Ted Russell Ford Lincoln is your home for the finest vehicles in Knoxville, new and used, East Tennessee's largest Ford and Lincoln volume dealer. Once again, the show represented by Banks & Jones, Tennessee's trial attorney, banksandjones.com, led by T. Scott Jones. Let's get moving on with Kirby Smart in Georgia. Kirby Smart seems to have taken another shot at the Vols. What the H? Brought to you by Rick Terry Jewelry Designs. They want to be your jeweler looking for affordable game day jewelry, a Tennessee tradition. RickTerryJewelry.com. Kirby Smart, back in 2023, implied that tempo-based offenses, the quarterbacks in there are not true decision makers. He said, quote, back then, it's like a true quarterback is a decision maker in our system because some systems take all the pressure off the quarterback and they just go really fast. We don't do that. We're a quarterback driven offense, so you can process the information. That means get the signal, get people lined up, then see what the defense is in and figure out where are we in the right situation. Hypo came back that year and said, quote, our guys control everything. I don't think there's anybody in America that puts more on their quarterbacks. Run checks, run pass checks, loaded boxes, alert kills. They've got to do it all. So at the time, referring to Joe Milton, he's highly instrumental in the efficiency and effectiveness of our running game. Well, Smart on Thursday met with reporters as fall camp got underway for Georgia. And he again decided to talk about quarterbacks playing in up-tempo offenses. And here's what he said, quote, the average fan is not aware of the demand of what the quarterback's having to decide, and they certainly aren't aware of what the defense is having to defend. Because the eyes of the defense have to be in multiple places. There's a play on this side of the formation, there's a play on this side of the formation, and then there's an interior play. So there's 3 plays, and the defense is having to defend more of it, so it's become tougher to defend. It's also become probably less of a quarterback having to change the protection and play the quarterback position that the NFL would like to have, and more of a go tempo, dummy it down a little bit and let the quarterback make easy decisions and make throws and runs that make it really hard to defend. Basically, he's talking about how defenses have it harder because they have to guess plays a lot more than they used to. And he basically said straight up how tempo makes things easier now on a lot of quarterbacks. He's directly saying that up-tempo offenses, the quarterback has an easier decision. So I'm going to set the poll question up. The original poll question, who will replace Chris Brazzle? Right now, Travis Smith Jr. leads the way at 57%. If Brazzle can't go, it looks like you guys are leaning Travis Smith Jr., the true freshman, at 57%. Then you're leaning Rodarius Jackson at 24%, Trey Weary at 14%, somebody else at 5%. So closing that poll out, and I'm going to add this question. Was Kirby Smart taking a direct shot at Tennessee by dismissing the demands on QBs in up-tempo offenses? So there is your poll question. Was Kirby Smart taking a direct shot at Tennessee by dismissing demands on QBs in up-tempo offenses? Yes and no. You guys can vote on that and tell me what you think. I'm going to go ahead and tell you what I think, guys. And I'm going to tell you this honestly. Yes, I think Kirby Smart was taking a shot at Tennessee. I also think, and I'm going to have to be ready for this. You guys are going to have to be ready for this. Kirby Smart's right. The demands on the Georgia quarterback are actually a lot tougher than the demands on the Tennessee quarterback. Now, the physical tools of a quarterback are not as necessary at Georgia. You just have to make the right decisions because there's so many great athletes around you. But it is more of a pro-style offense, and there are more pro concepts. I don't like Mike Bobo. I don't think he's a good coach. I don't think he's a good offensive coordinator. But Mike Bobo runs a pro-style offense, and he will coach quarterbacks. Mike Bobo's problem has always been a complete lack of creativity. And that lack of creativity is where the difference in a game comes. It's the same problem in the up-tempo offense that Joey Halzle has with Josh Heupel. the lack of the creativity, the scripting of about 5 plays you need in a game, those 5 plays oftentimes make the difference in a game. And Mike Bobo doesn't do that. Todd Monken did it masterfully. He was incredible at it. Mike Bobo doesn't do that. That's always been my real issue with Mike Bobo. But the truth of the matter is, he's not wrong about the up-tempo offenses, particularly what Tennessee runs. Heupel was talking about all the decisions the quarterback has to make in the offense and how much is put on them. He basically said we put more on our quarterback than anybody else. That may be true, but that's relative to what they put on the team as a whole. And the quarterback doesn't have to make that many reads. Quarterback has to make the decisions at a higher percentage in Tennessee's offense more than other offenses. But those decisions are really easy to make, guys. It's this simple. And I've told you guys Heupel's offense before. Spread out the wideout sideline to sideline. The quarterback gets to the line of scrimmage and just has to look at the safety. That's all he has to do is look at the safety. Assuming the receivers are fast enough, and when you spread the receivers that much out, you can't disguise your blitzes against Tennessee. So the quarterback knows immediately whether or not they're going to blitz or not. It's literally a video game read that you would do like 12, 14 years ago when you played the original NCAA football games. Because when you see them, when you see them spread out on defense trying to cover the receivers, you know they can't blitz. You know they're not disguising a blitz, so you know you can run it. When you see them tighten up, you know you got one-on-one coverage on the outside. It's literally that simple. Provided your receivers are fast enough, you're fine. Last year, Tennessee's problem, their receivers weren't fast enough. The reason they haven't been able to get past Georgia to this point, Georgia's always had cornerbacks that can hang with Tennessee receivers. But there is not a lot of tough decision-making for a quarterback in Josh Heupel's system. This is what Nico Iamaleava said was the reason he transferred, or his family claimed was the reason he transferred to UCLA for. They were lying, by the way. They were lying. It's an utter lie. I know they're playing for Tino Sinceri now, and I know he probably will run more of a pro-style offense, but they were lying. But it's still true that the decision-making for a quarterback is relatively easy. It's actually very easy in Josh Heupel's offense. It's actually tougher for the receivers because the quarterback makes the call based on the coverages he sees, and he has to assume that the receiver's on the same page and is going to run the exact same route depending on what the defensive back is doing. So you're throwing to a spot more than anything, and the receiver has to read how he's being covered. So there's more put on the receiver than there are receivers in other systems. And while more may be put on the quarterback too, much less difficulty for the quarterback than in other systems. The other part of this that's kind of funny is that Kirby Smart is benefiting from the game slowing down a lot, and it slowed down for Heupel last year because of the 3-3-5 shell defenses everybody was running, the fact that their receivers weren't fully healthy, and the fact that people are faking injuries now to slow down the clock so they can't run the tempo. You could say it maybe have exposed Tennessee last year, but it really didn't. I mean, Dylan Sampson set records running the ball because they stuck to the ground. So Kirby Smart did seem to be taking a shot at Heupel. It may have been unnecessary, but it wasn't inaccurate. What the H brought to you by Rick Terry Jewelry Designs. They want to be your jeweler looking for affordable game day jewelry, a Tennessee tradition, rickterryjewelry.com.
Having been in the jewelry industry for a long time in the Knoxville community, I saw a need for a jeweler, a real jeweler.
Our ability to do these designs has really been based on the customers bringing new things in and challenging us as a store. Our goal is not to tell anybody what they want. Our goal is to listen to what they want and then help them get there.
Schedule your consultation today to get your special someone the perfect custom gift just in time for the holidays.
The poll question up was Kirby Smart taking a direct shot at Tennessee by dismissing demands on quarterbacks and up-tempo offenses. Yes, 56%. No, 44%. I agree with you guys. He was taking a shot. But the real truth of the matter is he's right to take that shot. Kirby Smart, you can say what you want. He's not wrong. Josh Heupel's offense does not prepare you for the NFL. You are coached to only read one side of the field. Play to play. That's it. You only look at one side of the field. You only do 3-step drops. There's a reason Hendon Hooker still has not yet started in the NFL. Now, Joe Milton did get a start late last year in the NFL, but Joe Milton did coach in a pro-style offense or play in a pro-style offense before transferring to Tennessee. He was at Michigan. We've seen this quite a few times. We know that when Josh Heupel left Missouri to become offensive coordinator to become head coach at UCF, back in 2018, Missouri went and hired Derek Dooley as an offensive coordinator because they just wanted somebody who was going to run a pro-style offense because Drew Lock really wanted to get developed for the NFL. You can go look that up. That's exactly what they did. They were trying to help Drew Lock get prepared for the NFL, and it really did. This is why Arch Manning, by the way, was never going to commit to Tennessee and was always going to commit to a place like Texas because Tennessee's not going to develop the quarterbacks for the NFL. Now, I think you can still be an NFL quarterback if you play at Tennessee. Put up the video game numbers. Somebody will take you, and you sit for a year in the NFL, and then you learn things. I don't think it's a big deal if you're not developed. Jimmy Hyams and I talked about this all the time in the past. If you're good, the NFL will make concessions for you. We talked for a long time about how Steve Spurrier quarterbacks were never actually good in the NFL. He didn't coach them to prepare them for the NFL. No, it's just that none of them were actually good enough to play in the NFL. Steve Spurrier just made them all look better than they were in college because of how simple his offense was. That's semi-similar to what Mike Leach's track record was, where he had all these quarterbacks put up video game numbers, go to the NFL, never make it. And people would say, oh, Mike Leach doesn't develop quarterbacks for the NFL. But the truth was those quarterbacks were never good enough in college outside of playing in Mike Leach's system. That all gets turned on its head when you see Patrick Mahomes, who ran Mike Leach's system while playing for Cliff Kingsbury, all of a sudden goes to the NFL and maybe on the path to becoming the best quarterback in NFL history. Already top 3, top 4. I mean, he's already on the Mount Rushmore. So it's crazy to think that Patrick Mahomes wouldn't be able to, that Josh Heupel wouldn't be able to put quarterbacks in the NFL with his system. But it's also true he doesn't develop them, and there's no way you can deny that. He really doesn't develop the quarterbacks for his system. That's just the way it is. Portions of the program are brought to you by HoundDogs of Knoxville. Champions look good in orange. HDKnoxville.com. HDKnoxville.com. Stick with us. When we come back, we're going to have a little fun because the new College Game Day theme song is out, and you guys may hate me on my takes on this, but I'll give you my thoughts. 2 minutes. Stick with us. Off the Hook Sports.
It's a new year, a new day, and Ted Russell Lincoln has an exciting new offer to share. Right now, get a 2024 Lincoln Navigator with 0% APR for 72 months and up to $4,000 in bonus cash. Or drive away in a new 2024 Lincoln Corsair Grand Touring with 0% APR for 60 months and up to $4,500 in bonus cash. It's time to get excited about the ride. Come and see what a luxury car experience truly is at Ted Russell Lincoln Knoxville.
Hello, ma'am. I'm here to look at that plumbing problem. Oh boy. Yep. You're gonna need a whole new sink. If this toilet is no good, you're gonna need a new one ASAP. You are not gonna believe this. You're all out of milk.
Have you heard about our service plan?
I need to call Scott's.
Scott's Plumbing, your trusted neighborhood plumber since 1977.
Having been in the jewelry industry for a long time in the Knoxville community, I saw a need for a jeweler, a real jeweler.
Our ability to do these designs has really been based on the customers bringing new things in and challenging us as a store. Our goal is not to tell anybody what they want. Our goal is to listen to what they want and then help them get there.
Schedule your consultation today to get your special someone the perfect custom gift just in time for the holidays.
Sports Treasures in North Knoxville is one of the South's largest sports cards and memorabilia dealers, featuring over 10 million sports cards from vintage to modern. Sports Treasures carries a full line of hobby boxes, singles, autographed memorabilia, Tennessee Vol collectibles, fan cave decorations, and so much more. See a museum full of collectibles at Sports Treasures, 4819 North Broadway in Fountain City, and Sports Treasures on Facebook. Sports Treasures, where the real sports fan goes to shop.
Welcome back to Off the Hook Sports. Hit that like and subscribe button. We broadcast live from the Ted Russell Ford Lincoln studio. Ted Russell Ford Lincoln is your home for the finest vehicles in Knoxville, new and used. East Tennessee's largest Ford and Lincoln volume dealer. The show represented by Banks & Jones, Tennessee's trial attorney, play to win. Why settle? Banks & Jones, led by T. Scott Jones, banksandjones.com. We continue to move on, and we discuss College Game Day. The new College Game Day theme song is out for this year, and it involves somebody that a lot of people probably wouldn't be a fan of. And I'm obviously talking about Machine Gun Kelly. Machine Gun Kelly basically is going to be the new he is responsible for the new College Game Day theme song. I'm going to play his song for you real quick, a little snippet of it, because we obviously don't want to get flagged for copyright, and Disney will absolutely do that. But we'll play it here, and I'll give you my thoughts, and then we're going to talk about the best theme song. So here we go. Here's a quick snippet of Machine Gun Kelly's new theme song.
College football.
Let's go make it happen. And I'll show you the lies. Everyone's equal till it's time to divide. Let's go. You want this, you got that. You want this, you got that.
Wanted to show you guys just a little bit of it. Machine Gun Kelly is a white rapper turned punk rock star in the age of the emo rap phase, so it kind of works. He appeals to a lot of the younger kids. I'm not feeling it as much, though. I'm not feeling it that much. So we're going to play Hot or Cold, and it's brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning, 50 years in East Tennessee. Integrity matters, cityheatandair.com. What are the best College Game Day theme songs of all time? And are you hot on the ones I'm going to name, or cold, and which ones should they bring back? Machine Gun Kelly, I'm cold on it. Sorry. I'm cold on the MGK theme song. I just don't think it has the same... it doesn't have the same pizzazz. It just doesn't work for me. So I can't really go there. The Machine Gun Kelly song is not, I don't think it's going to work, honestly. Now, Jelly Roll. Jelly Roll last year had a song called Get By that was the College Game Day theme song. I didn't mind that one. I thought it was actually perfect for the theme and the way they set up Game Day. So I'm going to give Jelly Roll a bit of a plus. I know a lot of people didn't like Jelly Roll's song, but I didn't really mind it as much as everybody else did. I'll say, you know what? I'll say yes. I'll say I was hot on Jelly Roll's Jelly Roll's College Game Day theme song last year. Now, moving on, Seven Nation Army by the White Stripes mentioned. Yeah, hot on that one. That one was great. That one was a good one too. I was a fan of that. Most notable one of all of them, and we'll just go ahead and throw it out there. I think they should bring this back for tradition. Coming to Your City, Big and Rich. I think we were all hot on that one. That was a good one. We should all be fans of that. That one is iconic for College Game Day, and they need to bring it back. Now, a couple other ones. Fall Out Boy, Centuries. Guys, you know what? I like that song. I didn't think it was a fit for ESPN College Game Day. It didn't give you the college football feel in the morning, and I got to be honest, I need that college football feel in the morning, and Centuries with Fall Out Boy just didn't do it for me. You know, it's a great song on its own. It doesn't give you a college football feel. I'm going to say the same thing on a hot take. God Bless Saturday, Kid Rock. Just didn't do it. Who remembers that one? Cold on that one. God Bless Saturday, Kid Rock. It just didn't do it. It was probably, so I just can't land there. And by the way, Light 'Em Up, Fall Out Boy. Great one, David Speaks. You're right. Fall Out Boy had a couple because they had Light 'Em Up too. Light 'Em Up pumps you up. I just couldn't get, it just didn't give me the college football feel. The same with Imagine Dragons, by the way. I think they had New Age. I think Imagine Dragons New Age was part of it one year, and I love New Age. That's arguably their best song. Or Radioactive, excuse me. Radioactive. I don't know why I said New Age. Imagine Dragons Radioactive. Pump Up song just didn't get me lit up for college football. Going down the list, Ex-Ambassadors, Tom Morello, Collider. No, I thought it was lame. Sorry, didn't get me going. Let's go way back for a minute. Well, before we go way back, last one, Something Real, Post Malone last year or 2 years ago. Nope, didn't get me in the mood. But I would tell you there were two that did get me in the mood regularly, and I will name those. First, Hot or Cold, brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning, 50 years in East Tennessee. Integrity matters, cityheatandair.com.
Hi, Mike Davis here with City Heating and Air, reminding you to always dare to compare. Our team provides quality local heating and air service, installation, and maintenance across East Tennessee. We use only the best equipment like American Standard heating and air conditioning for your residential, new construction, or commercial needs. Honesty, dependability, and customer satisfaction have been the cornerstones of our business since 1961. City Heat and Air.
There's your pair. All right, a couple more that you guys are just going to have to accept. One that was a good pump-up song, I thought it was better for professional sports games, though, was, I would say, Boom, P.O.D. Voice, who remembers that one? Boom, here comes the boom, ready or not. Here comes the voice from the South. Sorry, but I liked that one. That one got me pumped. But are you guys ready for what the greatest college game day theme song was in history? And they need to bring it back, and it is a disaster that they haven't brought it back. Y'all ready? Who's ready for this? Somebody guess who I'm going to name on the message board. Come on. Somebody guess what I'm going to name. It hasn't been played on college game day in 20 years, and it needs to come back. What is the theme? What is the greatest theme song in college game day history? Does anybody know? Not getting anything on the message board, so I'm going to go ahead and say it. Sorry, guys. Bubba Sparks, Back in the Mud, college game day, greatest theme song ever. I'm going to play a clip of it for you guys real quick. It was the absolute greatest song of college game day history right here. That's right. Bubba Sparks had the greatest theme song in the history of college game day. That was epic. Yes, I'm going to put that as the poll question because I am team Bubba Sparks all day. And so the poll question is up right now, which is going to be this. Should college game day bring back the Bubba Sparks theme song? College game day bring back the Bubba Sparks theme song? Yes, no. I don't care what you guys say. That was a legendary song. That song got me ready for college football in the morning when I was in high school. That thing got me so amped. It was so perfect for college game day. I don't care what any of you guys say, all right? But college game day was pretty epic when Bubba Sparks was giving you the theme song. I want to go through, I want to test a couple other ones that some people are saying real quick that are okay, fair enough. We'll get to. But a few that they are saying is Boys of Fall, Kenny Chesney. I don't know if that was ever a college game day specifically, though. Oh, gosh, Adam. Was that you, Adam, who said it? No, sorry. GBMFO, Jefferson Pilot's theme song. Oh, that was so awful. That was like cringeworthy country. Oh, players want them country. Well, on theirs, it was Brooks and Dunn. Let's play some football. That just, you knew when you heard that song, and maybe it's because of the games that were being played, but you knew when you heard that song, you were about to watch a low budget football game. Okay, you were about to watch a low-budget SEC football game that probably involved Vanderbilt, Kentucky, or Mississippi State. Honestly, that was, maybe I'm being unfair. Maybe because I'm associating it with Jefferson Pilot, I am kind of leaning towards, maybe because I'm associating it with Jefferson Pilot, it's just triggering me because of how low budget the production of those games were. And how and how bad the SEC games were going to be during that time. But yeah, that's where I learned. Was High Hopes actually part of college football? Was it? I knew the Panic at the Disco song. Was High Hopes actually one of the theme songs for game day? Because I got high hopes for a living. I thought that one was a little bit cheesy, guys. It did have the college football like beat because it was almost marching band sounding, but come on, that one was a little cheesy. I need a little bit of pump up with the college football feel. The move was Bubba Sparks. Bring back Bubba Sparks. I'm going to start a petition and bring back Bubba Sparks to college game day. Back in the Mud, the greatest song of all time for college football. We need it back now. Portions of the program are brought to you by Peak IV Hydration in South Knoxville and Sevierville. Live your life to the fullest. Hydrate, rejuvenate, and elevate your health with Peak IV Hydration, peakivhydration.com. Link is in the chat. When we come back, we're going to close things out. It'll be bank on it because College Sports Commission is already backing off NIL restrictions that they agreed to just less than a month ago. And I was proven right on. Stick with us. 2 minutes off the hook sports.
A beacon of hope in a world of high prices. Look to the skies, Knoxville. Super Savings is here. Ted Russell Ford is East Tennessee's #1 Volume 4 dealer. Employee pricing is here. You pay what we pay on all new Ford models. Come see the super dealer today at either Ted Russell Ford location, Parkside Drive, or Kingston Pike.
Sports Treasures in North Knoxville is one of the South's largest sports cards and memorabilia dealers, featuring over 10 million sports cards from vintage to modern. Sports Treasures carries a full line of hobby boxes, singles, autographed memorabilia, Tennessee Vol collectibles, fan cave decorations, and so much more. See a museum full of collectibles at Sports Treasures, 4819 North Broadway in Fountain City, and Sports Treasures on Facebook. Sports Treasures, where the real sports fan goes to shop.
Community banking is about location and much more. It's about family. We reside in your community. We are a part of your community. At Commercial Bank, our commitment extends beyond the walls of our branches. It's displayed each day in the opportunities we provide, the money we give back, and the time we commit, all to help improve the lives of the people, families, and businesses that make our communities great. Commercial Bank, life made better.
Now in its 45th year, the second and third generations continue Joe Neubert's commitment.
His vision of what this business needed to be, we still try to live up to that.
Joe Neubert Collision Center.
Hi, Mike Davis here with City Heating and Air, reminding you to always dare to compare. Our team provides quality local heating and air service, installation, and maintenance across East Tennessee. We use only the best equipment like American Standard heating and air conditioning for your residential, new construction, or commercial needs. Honesty, dependability, and customer satisfaction have been the cornerstones of our business since 1961. City Heat and Air. Dare to compare.
Welcome back to Off the Hook Sports. We close things out with more NIL news. Less than a month after it was started and amidst the House settlement for NIL, the College Sports Commission has loosened its restrictions on athletes receiving payments from NIL collectives, according to a memo the new enforcement agency sent to athletic directors Thursday morning. There was a blanket prohibition on athletes receiving payments from NIL collectives. The collectives are obviously built to funnel money to athletes in particular. The CSC, which revises guidance it issued 3 weeks ago, was basically trying to crack down on endorsements as a pay-for-play scheme as opposed to getting money in actual endorsement deals. They wanted to try to enforce whether or not an NIL payment was actually for name, image, and likeness or was just a workaround to try to pay somebody directly. I said at the time, during the House settlement, that there was no way in hell that that would stand in court. I've told you guys a lot about the antitrust violation. By the way, isn't it crazy that the antitrust violation is like one of the most impactful laws in history, still impacts the world to this day, and it was passed by Benjamin Harrison, who's one of the most forgettable presidents. Benjamin Harrison passed the antitrust law, passed the antitrust laws, the Sherman Antitrust Act. He started Yosemite as a national park, and he added more states to the union than any other president, 6. And somehow he's totally forgotten because he's surrounded by Grover Cleveland's 2 elections. Sorry, random history fact. I'm a big history fan. Anyways, I had told you guys from the start that this would not stand in court. There is no way you can regulate with antitrust laws on the books whether or not a deal is pay for play or an endorsement, okay? You can't regulate that at all. How far could that go? How far could that go? You know, what if there are advertisers that advertise for a product because they support the product and they don't actually expect revenue out of it? That happens all the time in sports, okay? it's a lot of times advertisements are, yes, you might operate at a loss, but you like to support something that you believe in. And so you advertise hoping to get a little bit back. That's allowed. And it's an antitrust violation to tell somebody they can't do that blatantly. So I said there is absolutely no way they would be able to determine whether or not somebody's paid by a collective, or ban players from getting paid by a collective, or say that you can't get paid on a pay for play, and that they would arbitrarily determine whether or not an NIL payment was an endorsement payment or an actual pay for play. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. You can't do that. Now, according to Thursday's memo, it provides more of a, according to ESPN, it, quote, provides more of a punt than a definitive answer to an essential question for the future of how major college sports will function. Can wealthy teams and their boosters be able to game the system designed to create competitive balance? According to the new rules, athletes and collectives have to show that each deal they sign requires the athlete to promote a product or service that is being sold to make a profit, rather than just being a vehicle to channel money from boosters to athletes, which I told you. So collectives would need to show documentation of the entity's effort to profit from the deal. That's going to be the next layer of this. They tried to ban the collectives. I said they won't be able to ban the collectives. They will not, this will not stand either. This is the next one where they're going to try to force the collectives or the boosters or whoever to prove that when they pay somebody, it is a pay for play. I mean, it is a payment with an expected profit, and in terms of an advertisement, not just a pay for play. That's not going to stand up in court either. No other business is a advertiser required to make a profit when they advertise with somebody. So bank on it, brought to you by Commercial Bank, member FDIC, Life Made Better. There is not a chance in hell that the next part of this enforcement mechanism, in which collectives and boosters have to prove that they are advertising when they pay players and not just paying for play, there's not a chance in hell that stands up in court. Bank on it.
Commercial Bank is your neighborhood bank. What makes us different from other banks? We understand that every customer has unique opportunities, challenges, and financial concerns. We don't expect you to fit into the same box as the next person or business. Whether it's purchasing a home, saving for your child's future, or planning for your next vacation, we're with you every step of the way to navigate life's big decisions. Commercial Bank. Life made better.
I'm setting up the poll question now. I'm going to let you guys vote on this, which is this. Oh, that's a question and answer. I don't want that. Okay, here we go. Poll question. Should a third party be able to or how about this? Should collectives and boosters have to prove their payments to players are actual endorsements and not just pay for play? There we go. Should boosters have to prove? I'm trying to get this out for you guys. Should boosters have to prove payments to players are endorsements and not just pay for play? All right. Yes or no? You guys vote on that. I say hard no. Hard no. Hell no. This is an absolutely ridiculous thing. That's what they're trying to set now. Should boosters have to prove payments to players are endorsements and not just pay for play? No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't. It's a blatant antitrust violation. Advertisers can pay players whatever the hell they want to pay them, and players can take whatever the hell type of money they want to take from advertising revenue. It's a blatant antitrust violation otherwise. So I think it's absolutely ridiculous that this is even a question. Now, David Speaks points out there could be tax law implications in the future. That is very true. We don't know how that's all going to play out, but you can, I don't know how the tax law works versus a donation to the university. I believe a donation to the university you can write off as a business, you can write off, whereas a tax, a payment to a player, you may not. Like, it's a charitable deduction versus a business expense, and a charitable deduction I think is worth more when you donate to the university. So we're going to have to see how that goes. GBMFO says they have to stop forcing guys to enroll and instead pay them as employees. Should be two paths. Yeah, so GBMFO, here was always my solution. When you get a scholarship to play sports at Tennessee, I don't think while you're playing the sport, whether or not that's a revenue generating sport or not, I don't think you should be required to go to class. I don't. While you're playing the sport. What I think is you should play the sport, say it's football. You should be on campus just to play the sport as an employee for 4 years, and you take your NIL payments, whatever. Then, after you have finished playing, the university will hold your scholarship. You can go back at any time to major in whatever you want to major in, and you'll have that free scholarship right that you're promised. That's how I think this is the best way to work. Steve Sullivan is absolutely right. You can't regulate how much someone charges for anything. Yes, no third-party business can do that. It is a complete violation of antitrust laws. Looks like our audience is breaking with us. Looks like 60% of you think they should have to prove it, though. I don't think they should have to prove it. And Steve is right. Market value is a big deal. So, I mean, David, and you're all right to say tax laws go from state to state, so the money has to be accounted for, or it could be seen as money laundering. Well, yeah, but that's for anything. But it's difference between accounting for the money and actually determining why you're paying it. You shouldn't have to prove you're making you're making a profit on an advertisement for it. That's a complete that's a complete antitrust violation. And also, I think what frustrates me about this, as someone who backs a lot of the players, let's be honest, these players come from, not all of them, not even most of them, but some of them, many of them, come from backgrounds of lower socioeconomic status. We talk all the time about capitalism and, pull yourself up by your bootstraps and no government needs to help these players out. But then when some of these people from poor socioeconomic backgrounds have a chance to make money for themselves, all of a sudden we say, oh, well, we need to regulate the market because it's not fair that they can make money that the capitalist market would dictate they make. Why is this the one we have to regulate? Players getting paid. Why does capitalism all of a sudden go out the window when poor people have a chance to make a little bit of money? Oh, all of a sudden we got to be socialist then. You guys see the hypocrisy of this? Okay. And that's what bothers me the most. Everybody says free market, make what you can, and, pull yourself up by your bootstraps until people who aren't supposed to be in the class of the wealthy are making the money. Then all of a sudden, well, these aren't the people who are supposed to make money for themselves, so we need to regulate that. See how America works? Yeah, that's my problem with it. Should not be regulated. Really big issue to me. This is kicking the can down the road. I was already proven right once. I will be proven right again. It will not hold up in court that they can sit there and regulate whether or not a booster or an NIL collective or a third party or whoever has to prove why they're paying a player. That's not going to land. I promise you that. The show represented by Banks & Jones, Tennessee's trial attorneys. Play to win, why settle? Banks & Jones, led by T. Scott Jones, banksandjones.com. We broadcast live every weekday from the Ted Russell Ford Lincoln studio at 10 a.m. Eastern. Ted Russell Ford Lincoln is your home for the finest vehicles in Knoxville. New and used, East Tennessee's largest Ford and Lincoln volume dealer. I want to thank all of you guys for tuning in today. You guys all have a great weekend. I will be back Monday as we continue our coverage previewing the 2025 college football season. Again, hit that like and subscribe button, ring the bell, turn on your notifications, tell a friend. With Caleb